Um, cool. So there have been some really great news about Bloom recently because just 2 weeks ago, Bloom 1.3 was released, which has two really cool things. So first of all, it's now freely available to everyone in Neo4j Desktop. So that means when you have Neo4j Desktop installed and downloaded, which you can get from um, Neo4j.com desktop download, then Bloom is already bundled and you can just start it immediately. So that's really cool. And so you can use Neo4j Bloom for free on all your local databases. Also, if you're running Neo4j Sandbox, there are also a bunch of sandboxes that have Bloom integrated. So there's a dedicated Bloom sandbox here. There is the Graph Data Science Sandbox, which has Bloom integrated, and a very new fraud detection sandbox, which will come very soon, which also has Bloom integrated. And basically, what you can do here is you can just open your sandbox, of course, regularly with browser, but you can also open it with Bloom. You just click on this button, and then it should start Bloom for your sandbox, and you're ready to go. So even if you don't have downloaded desktop, you can try Bloom or try and use Bloom as well on these other places. So the other cool thing that happened is that Bloom is available on Aura. So Neo4j Aura is Neo4j's cloud offering. So it seems to load a while. So it's Neo4j's cloud offering. So that means when you have a database in Neo4j Aura, then you can, actually I can show you the user page. Then you can use it there. So my team, Developer Relations at Neo4j, has provided some additional information and how-to guides for Bloom. Bloom has also pretty comprehensive documentation itself. So if you want to learn more in detail, please go to the Bloom documentation. But for a quick startup, there's the Neo4j Bloom user guide that you can get from Neo4j Graph platform here with videos, explains things about Aura. Bloom is also part of the startup program for Neo4j. And here is kind of basically how you use Bloom and kind of the different things that you can do. And it also links to the Bloom docs, as does the Bloom pages as well. So there's like also official Bloom documentation, which is very detailed. That has also really nice video series, which I also recommend a lot for people who rather want to watch videos. So there's also a YouTube playlist for Bloom videos here. Okay. If you want to use Bloom and Aura, there's also a developer guide under the Aura topic that explains how you basically create your database and then open your database with Bloom, and then you can use the data in Bloom as well. Right. So so that's also really cool. So all the things are coming together, and the other thing that's really nice is that Bloom is now working with something this Firefox doesn't like. That Bloom is now working with 4.0 as well, so you can also use the 4.0 database. And that's what we're going to do. So to use Bloom to edit data or add data, you need to have a perspective. That means you need to have already a predefined schema, to say so, in your Bloom application. And to get this, the easiest way is to have some data in your graph already. So it's a little bit of a conundrum, right? So I want to edit data to add new data, but I need some data in Neo4j already to make this happen. So either you need take an existing data set from somewhere, or you create a bit of data with by hand. So for instance, you can just run something like play create template, which is like a quick way of creating some data. So I can create people, movies, and people acting in movies, for instance, here, and I can change the labels to something else. For instance, I want to do recipes then I can change this and change like the values as well. So if you don't have data in your graph, then you can use a plate query template to get some data in your graph, and then use Bloom for like visual editing. So basically, Bloom only needs like a bunch of nodes, or one node of each type with the properties that it has and the relationships of each type once, to kind of extract this information from the graph. You can also edit perspectives in Bloom itself, but that's kind of limited in terms of what you can add. For instance, you can't add properties there. So for my example, I want to use the movie graph because it's built in. So I just do play movies, and I get here our movie graph in Neo4j. And can just create the data by clicking on this block of text, which I just run here. And after that's done, the other thing that I also did is basically created a bunch of indexes for person name, person born, movie released, and movie title. So that's the only other thing that I did. And the schema basically looks like this. I have person and movie, and person follows person, and person can have acted in a movie, directed a movie, produced a movie, or reviewed a movie. Right? Where movie has a title, released, and tagline, and the person has name and born as attributes. Okay, going to Bloom. So if I just stop Bloom here. So in Neo4j Desktop, what I did basically, I just created a database and for the old database, and then when you click on Open, it opens Neo4j browser, and you have also drop down here, and I can just select. Sorry for the many applications. I can just select Neo4j Bloom, or what I prefer to do is just press Command K, and then I get this quick start bar, which is really nice, which is also available through this search icon here. So you can do either of those. So let me pick this one. So I'm starting Bloom here on this database now. So it opens a local copy of Bloom. And as I said, in the current desktop, Bloom is already bundled, and it's available for free to use in local databases. Okay, so when you start Bloom, usually let's see. If it has never started on this database, it asks me if I want to create a perspective or if I want to generate a perspective. If I have already started it on the database, then it just uses the perspective from the last time. And because here I already did create a perspective for this graph, it uses that. And it seems that OBS and streaming is overloading my Mac a little bit. Sorry for that. Come on. Yeah, there we go. So I don't want to see the current scene. So I want to have a new scene. And I just want to show you where the perspective management is hidden. So here you can get perspectives, and you can also say, okay, this is what you see actually when you start Bloom for the first time. So for instance, if I delete this, so this is what it looks like when I start Bloom for the first time on a graph. It also tells you how many nodes, relationships, labels, relationship types, and so on. It finds a database because it's 4.0. You can select multiple databases, so one of those. So if I just say generate perspective, then it just gets the data from the graph, and I can just use that. Okay, as you might have seen before, it's easy to say I want to fetch all movies in my graph, and if I, for instance, select one and want to change something, for instance, so if I pick this one, I can say dismiss other nodes, so I don't see the other nodes, and imagine we want to change this node, so edit this node. Then we go to inspect, which opens up this tabular view here, and you can already see I can add more labels to to it or remove the label. I can change the release year. I can change the tagline. I can change the title and so on. So for instance, I want to change the tagline is Houston, we have a problem solved, for instance, right? So then I just click this, and when I go to this movie now in Neo4j browser, for instance, then this should be changed as well. Let's see. So where's Apollo 13? Probably not in our selection. Where and the table contains Apollo. Yeah, Susanna, I will save the stream for later and will upload it to YouTube. So when you see that solved is here in the name of the tagline, right? So it kind of made the change to this, so which is really cool. Of course, I can also edit relationships. I can also add relationships. So for instance, if I have a user or a person that I created, then I can connect this user to me. So for instance, what we can do is now we can, for instance, create a new movie. So, and you do this by calling just create node, and then you select what kind of type of node you want to create. And this is the node category, so it's not exactly a label, so it could be also a category that has multiple labels. So for instance, if I create a new movie here, it just creates an empty movie. So this has nothing. So you have to be a little bit careful when you create this movie. This node, it doesn't have any identifying properties right now. So it's pretty good to double click it or press Command I or Control I to go to this perspective to get some properties added, right? So I can say here, edit node. And then I say, for instance, I want to use the title property. And I thought we're gonna take Hidden Figures as a movie because I really like this one, right? So Hidden Figures is from 2016. So I can just put in Hidden Figures as the title. I can set the next property, which is released, which was 2016. And we can add a tagline as well. And I kind of realized that Hidden Figure, IMDb has a bunch of taglines, and I really like this one. Genius has no race, strength has no gender, and courage has no limit. So let's use this one as a tagline. And then we can click down here, finish editing, and now our movie Hidden Figures has this information, right? So and if I go back to Neo4j browser, I should also find this movie here, right, with these properties. Cool. So we can basically, as soon as we have a perspective, then Bloom can be used to edit and add nodes. That's really nice. If you had more labels, then we could also add and remove labels here, which we currently don't have, but that's something that we can try out later. So, and then of course Hidden Figures doesn't have any relationships because it doesn't have any actors yet. So I actually have to check, I'm not sure. Do we have, so we have Kevin Bacon, Kevin Pollak, Kevin Costner is not in here yet. So, okay, so if you want to create an actor to connect to this movie, then you can do the same, create a person, and I just pick Janelle Monáe for this person, so we can just copy her name. So again, watch out that you don't lose this node, otherwise you have to find it again, and especially in larger graphs, that's not so easy. So, so Janelle, and born in 1985. Let's see, yeah. 1985, finish editing, and then we can create a relationship. So we have Janelle and hidden figures, and we press Command or Control on the on Windows to select two nodes. So now I can move them together, and they're kind of both selected. And now I can create a relationship. We have to watch out which direction, right? So because this says connect hidden figures to Janelle Monet, but we actually wanted to do it the other way around. So let's see if I click first Janelle and then hidden figures. Create relationship. Yeah. So it seems that it's always to the current node that I clicked on. So I want to create this active in relationship. So we have now the active in relationship, which should also show up in our Neo4j browser. So if I look here, we have an active in relationship, and then the let's see. I think we can go back to maybe here and add the role. So Mary is basically a role, and so because currently acted in doesn't have a role, so let's see if Bloom allows us to add this role. So we can also double click the relationship, and let's see if we can edit this relationship. It doesn't look like it. So that's, for instance, something that doesn't seem to be possible right now. So I think you can currently only edit existing relationship properties, but you can't add new properties on a relationship, at least if I'm not mistaken. So let's see, this one has a role property, but it can only show the role. So it seems that adding relationship properties is not supported in Bloom yet. So that's something that you need to do somewhere else. Okay, and then of course, if you want to add more relationships, then you could do this as well. So something that's currently not possible is deletion. So you can't delete data. So you can only add and edit data in Bloom. So that's something to watch out for. And then the other thing is you can't add new properties, so that these properties have to exist in the perspective. And so for instance, if I look here on movie, I see I have these perspectives, these properties in the perspective, and it has also a type. So actually, as I added like the born property here, I should also see in browser that this is actually an integer property, right? So released and born were actually created from Bloom as integer properties, not as string properties, which is nice. But you can't add new properties here. So you can kind of add labels to a person and add categories, but you can't add new properties. For instance, if I wanted to add a new property, then a new type of then I can add labels here, but then I can't add properties. So for instance, if I have a studio, so I have to create it in Neo4j itself first. Right? So that's still something that's not there yet. But I still think that editing already helps a bit. So something else that you can do in Bloom is duplicating values. So for instance, if you have a bunch of nodes which share like a number of attributes, but then you want to change something, then you can duplicate a node. So for instance, if I have this movie node here, and if I duplicate it, then it creates a copy, and then I can edit things. For instance, if I have a sequel or something like that, then I could say hidden figures 2 or something like that, right? And then it saves this, right? So this is quite nice. So, but then of course I can't delete it, so I have to go back to browser to delete it, which is a little bit possible. Bloom actually takes the security settings of Neo4j into account. So when you have a user who is only allowed to read from the database, you can't actually write data, right? So then it's limited to just reading data, and then you can't update data as such. Okay, what else do I have forgotten? Yeah, in general, this inspect view is quite nice because it shows you like the details of the scene in more detail. Here you can kind of scroll through these and explore them through this through these tabs as well. You can filter them by relationship types and so on. So that's quite useful and often like overlooked as such, right? Can also do things like jump to node, expand a node, dismiss a node, and things like that. So that's quite a useful sidebar here as such. The other thing, of course, that you can do here in this scene is looking at what's there. Either kind of look at all the nodes in the scene or off scene. And here you can, of course, configure stuff like icons. So if I have a movie here, then the movies get an icon, and if I have colors and sizes that I want to change, if I want to make movies bigger than actors, or the other way around, then I can do this or choose different colors. And I can also do rule-based styling, which I won't go into today, but which is a thing for a separate session. So so my challenge is always to pick an icon because there's so many of them. So actually, it's kind of paradox of choice. I kind of can't decide on. This icon for this. Cool. Anything else that I should look into? Otherwise, I'm kind of have covered the things that I wanted to talk about with Bloom and editing today.